Hey, this is Drew with Ride Into Cash. If you like some of the stuff I talk about, I recommend you checking out my website. It's rideinto.cash or rideintocash.com. Right now, I want to talk about something that's happened in San Diego. Since March through, this is 2019, March 2019 through mid-December of this year, I worked for Spin, and all of a sudden, I no longer work for Spin. The company, Spin, which is actually Skinny Labs Inc., decided to change their business model and remove charger employees and switch directly to operations employees only, where they don't have people like myself go pick up 30, 40 scooters, take them home and charge them. It's just the operations employees working with the warehouse. That change came fairly sudden. About a week before I became aware of what had happened, I got an email asking me to call in on this phone conference. And so I did. And that morning, before I called in, I checked my bank balance, and apparently I was paid, which is a clear indication, a couple days earlier than I was supposed to, which was an indication that basically they're letting people go. Now, in this conference, they also had said that mid-January, so about a month after the termination happened, there could be a possibility of different type of employment where it's not that role, but it's a different role. So in a way, there is an opportunity to work with Spin again, but like 10 days before Christmas being terminated, and because you're terminated, they don't do paid time off. They don't pay out your sick pay or any of that stuff. So that was a little rough, right before holiday time. Losing employment and having work change dramatically in a way, that was not easy. And I get it. Every one of these companies like Bird, Lime, Lyft, Uber, and Spin have to do what they can to become profitable. I fully understand that. It sucks for the person who's working that industry, who signs up and gets on board with this presumption and this situation of I make good money, and then it changes and shifts and decreases and reduces, and ultimately it gets boiled down to something that it's not so worth it for an employee to do the work, but it's very much more worth it for a company to run the business. I knew that from day one, that working for this company was not going to last. Being an employee, getting paid $18 an hour and receiving $4 as a bonus per scooter above 20 each night, that model didn't make sense. I even said in my interview, how long is that price going to last? He's like, oh, that's the model we have, and it's going to last. I'm like, okay. 9 months later, changes. Knew it was going to happen, was hoping it was going to last longer, but that is what it is. The reality is, when you join these companies and it sounds like it's too good to be true, it's because it is, but that doesn't mean you can't milk it while you can. Work it, hustle it, be as driven to make as much as you can in the early stages of that type of company or that type of business. You obviously can do that. You obviously can work hard early on and stay working hard through the whole time, but when it starts to reduce or change, shift. Don't make major life decisions based on the income you make from these type of side businesses, like charging scooters. Charging scooters is not going to last. It's just not going to, at least not at the current rate. And it didn't last at the beginning, the initial profitability. To go charge 50, 60 scooters in a night for Bird back in the day, I could make a couple $100, like hundreds of dollars in under 8 hours. That made a lot of sense. Now, I could spend a full day and maybe make 100. Not quite as logical for me to do that, considering the cost of gas, electricity. I have to have the space to charge the scooters, and the intensive labor damage to my body, because there's always a cost to what you do. And so those things don't add up. But overall, Spin fired all of its scooter chargers in San Diego, California. That's what happened. It happened December 16th was when the meeting happened. So they lasted 9 months with that model, and now they've shifted it and it's different. And I get it, because there's a lot of things in the news right now in San Diego where they may ban entirely scooters. So if that were to have happened, I would have been terminated from that anyway. So maybe it's a preemptive measure. So changes are among us, things are happening, and I don't really know how long scooters are gonna last. I've talked about that in the past. So far, I've been fortunate enough to be in the industry where I got in early. I started this YouTube channel talking about it. I've helped a lot of people, and I've made a good amount of money. You know, if I were to condense all of the work that I've done in this industry, instead of just like when I actually started, which was mid last year, to currently, and I just like removed some of the giant gaps of time when I wasn't working, I basically worked about a year, maybe a little less than a year, not full-time, and made over $25,000. So that's pretty cool. 11 of that came from spin, actually, in the 9 months I worked there. And then when you combine everything else, I made about 3,700 from Lime, and that was like a very short amount of time run because I was just heavy on that. And then Bird was like almost 10 grand last year, and sporadic amount this year. So I'm not saying you can't make money from it. I'm just saying, like, nowadays it's not gonna be the same as what it was. So all of my previous videos are kind of not accurate by comparison to what it is today. So keep that in mind. Do your best to maximize your time, and good luck out there. Have a great day. And like the video, subscribe to the channel, check my Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff out. And there's always links in my description for cool stuff on Amazon, so definitely pick that.